see you guys next time.
Hey, so today we're gonna sit and talk about my experience of my privilege of getting to go to the Wild+Free Conference. It's been a couple weeks, and I really had to take some time and process all of the info, all of the speakers and what they had to say, the people that I was able to meet and talk to and gain some wisdom and knowledge from moms who have walked this path and who have done what I'm doing or are doing what I'm doing, just getting fed and learning how to do this and how to do it better and do it from the heart. In Romans 12:2, it says, don't copy the behavior and the customs of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. And then you will learn to know God's will for you, which is good and pleasing and perfect. And truly, I left there and I just kept saying, Lord, you've given me so much to think about and to really pray about, and let it sink in before you share your thoughts and your experience with others. So I'm going to read to y'all something that was in our booklet that was given out in our swag bag. This is written by Ainsley Arment. She's the author of The Call in the Wild and Free. And this is just a part of something that she wrote called The Rise of Motherhood. Do the hard work of personal healing. Strive for emotional health. Fight for joy. Fight for love. Fight for home. Create a haven of safety. Create a shelter of security. Create a home of peace. The path to preserving childhood is a harrowing one. There are distractions at every turn and countless pressures looming on the other side of every wondrous landscape. But we as mothers can uphold a vision of what could be. There is nothing else that can give our children a childhood. That is something only you and I can do. We need a resurgence of refuge builders, a reclamation of homemakers and wonder chasers. We need a revival of beauty seekers and hope bearers, a renaissance of grace givers and wounded healers. We need motherhood. Motherhood fights the good fight for our children's futures. Motherhood rejoices over every good and perfect gift in them. Motherhood holds space for the challenges they face and restores what's been lost within the hope-weary walls of our homes. Motherhood protects the sacred sense of the wonder of childhood. So rise up, mothers. Rise up like a warm spring breeze after winter's cold repose. Rise up in the morning. Rise up like the morning sun each and every day it appears. The winter of childhood is over. Motherhood is here. Y'all, I could just leave it right there and let your brain think about some of that for a minute. When I say this was life-changing, I don't mean anything less than that. I literally had to come home and pray over and think about all of the things that were poured into my heart and stirred anew in me. So let's talk about some of the things as homeschool moms, right? We choose, this is countercultural. This isn't something that everybody chooses to do. More are choosing it, and that is amazing. and they're seeing the beauty of it. They're seeing the freedom of it, and they are really, their homes are changing, their families are changing, lives are changing. It's amazing. You have to be willing to take risks. We've talked about there's no perfection here, but you got to be a risk taker. You're doing something that is going against the grain. You're leaving a legacy for your kids. You are teaching them how to think for themselves, right? That's number one. We talk a lot about, what curriculum do you use? What do you do? How are you doing this? How are you doing that? The curriculum doesn't matter. You're the one, not the curriculum, who sets the tone for your home. You're the one who fills the home with grace and shows others how to give it. This is weighty. This is heavy stuff. I tell people all the time, the homeschooling is not the easiest thing I have ever done. Quite frankly, it's the hardest thing I've ever done. But the benefits that our family reaps from it, I can't even, it would take me days to write it all down on paper. So it's not the curriculum, it's you, mama. It's you. It's what you're doing in the home. What goodness are you sharing, right? What truth are you sharing? What beauty are you sharing? That's the stuff that matter. We talk about, you'll hear people say, lay out a feast for your kids, right? And then they will feast on the good ideas and have the great conversations. Feasts disciple children. They do. When you lay out the true and the good and the beautiful things and give them that feast of life and learning and experiences, that's what we talk about when you hear me say reclaiming childhood. We're reclaiming the truth and the beauty and the goodness, and we're feeding it and we're putting it on the table. We're giving these kids something maybe that you didn't have. I didn't get that kind of education. I had a good education. I was, public school educated, and it wasn't bad. But there are a lot of things that I'm seeing that didn't happen that I wish would have. Are you being a servant leader as a mom? That's a hard one. I always, tell my kids, you need to do this and you need to do that, and do it with a happy heart. And am I modeling that? Y'all, no, sometimes I'm not modeling being a servant leader. I'm constantly doing things for others, but do I always have a happy heart? No. So there's just so many things that we as moms, we have a lot to work on, and there's so much beauty in God giving us new mercies every morning. And I will tell you that was one of the things about this. It was awakening for me that I may not have always chosen to do it the right way, but each day I have a gift to wake up and to do it right and to do it better. I'm not going to get it right every day. I have definitely over the last few weeks let go of a lot of things that I thought, well, if we don't do it this certain way, then, if we don't teach them Latin, then, if we don't have them ready for pre-calculus, y'all, there's so many things that we're so worried about. They don't matter. Like when we have a list of things, right, that are super important, and then when we get down to the bare bones of this, that pre-cal, it's low, right? we're training virtue and character and strength. And I'm pretty sure that those things are much more important than what level of math they graduate high school with. I can tell you that I went to a really, really good high school. I got pretty good grades, and I still had to take remedial math in college. Okay, so and I can think back to all of the stress that math just ate me alive, and then to find out, I was gonna have to take it all from the very beginning when I got there. Okay, so let's not worry so much about the academics and about the what the world says is important. Okay, be renewed and transform your mind so that you will know what is important to God. And I can promise you, your heart and your kid's heart and all of that is way more important to Him than whether your child graduates with honors or with integrity and virtue, and that they love the Lord. That's boom, done, right? That's the end of it for God. If we're doing this for Him, that loving Him trumps everything, and loving others trumps everything. All of it. Let's talk about, we talked about development, and we talked about things I had never, I love reading about brain development and early childhood development, because I feel like the more that we understand about how kids are wired and how each one is different, we understand, and we can put a lot more grace onto the fact that some of them they're not going to read until they're 9. So for 5 years, you know how much sleep I lost over one of ours? I'll never get that back. And had I truly listened to my heart, had I truly just trusted God and said, you know what, God, I'm going to hand this over to you. I'm going to let you take control over this, and I'm going to quit trying to be the control freak that I am. 4 years of sleep back. And a lot of stress that just would not have happened. So a lot of this I've been hearing in my spirit, you need to hand your homeschool to the Lord. All of it. Everything down from the pencils that you're going to buy to how in the world am I going to make sure that my high schooler's transcript is good enough to get her into whatever college or university she wants to go to, if that's what she chooses to do. Y'all, hand it over to God. Give it to God. Leave it at His feet. Let Him take control over that, because guess what? You don't have any control anyway. You have none. You don't have any control. These are God's kids. They are the Lord's. Yes, they are given to you to raise. He has entrusted you with these kids. But at the end of the day, it's all His anyway. The kids, the time, the experience, all of it. All of it. So when you can rest in the fact that you do not have to worry about any of it, yes. I'm not saying just throw them out to the wind and we'll see what happens. Yes, there is work to be done, but you don't need to lose sleep over that kind of stuff. Do the day-to-day stuff. Trust that they will grow and they will learn and they will succeed They will. Whether you worry yourself to death or you do the day-to-day steps and trust that He's got it. He's got you and He's got your kids, and He loves you and He loves your kids more than you do. That, when you realize truly in your heart, that'll change your world. Your goal, Mom, is to reach hearts. You are discipling. You're discipling the future of this world. This is huge work. And to think that I thought I could do it on my own is crazy. And you should not think that you have to do it on your own. I'm here to tell you today, you are not on your own, and none of this is for you to figure out on your own. So quit. Stop today. Stop. Be done with it. Hand it over. Okay, I'm going to get off that soapbox because I can and I will stay on that. And if you ever want to talk about the fact that I'm you think you're a massive control freak, come meet me. I have you beat. I can do anything and I can do it better. That it's my mindset, y'all. And when I talk about, I've been praying over Romans 12 too, and I've been thinking to myself, okay, I need to be transformed and I need to be renewed, so that I can know God's plan and God's will, His perfect plan for my life, for my kids' life, for our family. And if I'm not seeking Him and if I'm not trusting Him, I'll never be renewed. I'll never be transformed to know even a glimpse of what He's got going on. So I'm trusting, right? I think a lot of us are we're trusting and we're open, and we're just waiting to see what God does. And I think that's part of motherhood as a whole. But man, when you add the whole homeschooling thing on top of it, you put a lot of trust in the Lord. That's for sure, because there are days I wake up and I don't have a clue as to how I'm going to teach a certain subject or how I'm going to make it all work. So I hand it over and I tell Him, God, I'm going to need you to work through this today, because in my own Meganness, I am completely incapable. That's what I do. It's worked so far. We've been pretty successful. Mamas, you were born for such a time as this. If you are sitting on the fence and you're thinking, this is a lot, and Megan keeps talking and she keeps saying, I can do this and I just have to trust God. You were born for such a time as this. And if you are feeling a stirring in your heart, man, that's Him. That's Him talking to you. That's Him telling you something. I think you need to pray about it. And I think you need to remember that you were put here as a mom for this exact time. You were given the exact children that were supposed to be here right now in June of 2022 for a reason, for such a time as this. You are creating something for Him and doing something for Him. What kind of beauty are you going to create? When you create beauty and when you choose beauty and light and goodness, you defy darkness. You defy darkness. That's big, mamas. That's big. So when I say we talked about development, we talked about, we had a wonderful speaker, and she talked about all kinds of things. I mean, right, things that like we know to be true about the human body. We talked about how movement is the basis of all learning. We talked about some things I didn't realize. Developing their vestibular system. Y'all, that's mind-blowing. Letting them move and climb and balance and jump and run. When they know their body, the better off they'll be. I think a lot of times, we live, I know for sure for me, I'm like, don't jump on that. Oh gosh, don't jump off of that. Don't climb across that. And kids are gonna get hurt. But when we let them climb and jump and run and do things, their bodies, their core, it stems all kinds of things for their brains to do all the kinds of things that their brains need to go do. So they talked about how kids, there was a kindergarten school in Germany, I believe it was, and she said she saw kids, little bitty ones, right? Like 3, 4, 5, 6, climbing trees and jumping off of things. And she thought, oh my gosh, where is the adult here? And she saw the teacher, and the teacher said, no, there was a little kid and he's hanging on a limb. She's like, I'm gonna go help them. And the teacher was like, no, let them, they will learn, they're building their core strength, which then in years to come builds so much more strength that comes from that, physically, mentally, all of it. And they learn by doing. I mean, we all know that, but the stuff that she had to say, wow, are you speaking life? That was one of the things, I always say to my kids, let's speak life over each other. And when I'm talking with them, or we're in a hard spot, or they're frustrated, I'm frustrated, whatever it is, am I speaking life over my kids? Or am I just speaking at them? I think a lot of times I'll speak at them instead of speaking life into them. And I think speaking life over them and to them, when we speak life over them, it changes their perspective on what they know to be true, what they think about themselves. Moms, when we speak life over each other, you can change someone's life by the words that you speak over them, for good and for bad, right? So there's just been a lot of things on my heart, a lot of things I've been praying about. It's definitely shifted my perspective in some things, and it's absolutely confirmed some beliefs that I've had that are countercultural. I mean, y'all, if y'all know, anyone who knows me personally knows I go against the grain. So I've been known to choose to go down paths that may not look right for the world. They may not normal for the world. And I'm not here to be normal. I'm here to be who God called me to be, to do what He has called me to do, and to help my kids on the path that God has for them. That's it. Another thing that I think about, and we need to talk about it, is this whole old normal thing. There is no normal way to do this. Everyone is going to have a different outlook, a different way of doing things. Your homeschool will not look like my homeschool. My homeschool won't look like yours. And that is the beauty of this. And that is the beauty of having your own family and listening to what God has for you and doing what He has for you. It's not going to look like everyone else. It's not. And that's so cool. That's the best part, is each family doing what they believe is the best thing for their family. So I hope that y'all have gotten some inspiration from this. I hope that you're like, man, I've got to go to Wild+Free to the next one. You do. Everybody, I feel like that should be a once a year thing for sure. They have 2 a year, I believe. So definitely, if you get the chance, if they're anywhere near you, or if you're willing to drive to wherever they are, you need to. No joke. It's a game changer. It's a life changer for you, for your kids, for your family. They have a podcast. I suggest listening to it whenever. Listen to all of them. They're all a blessing, and you will gain wisdom and encouragement each and every single time. Ainsley Arment is amazing. Y'all comment below. Comment if you have anything to say, if you got to go to the conference, if you've been to one in the past, if you have questions, if you have any advice to give me, leave it, put it in the comments. We'd love it if you like and share and subscribe to the channel. I promise it won't be that long of a wait for the next one, y'all. I've really had to sit and stew this one out and think about all the things. So yeah, I hope this was a blessing to each and every person who sat and watched me talk for this long. Y'all, let's go reclaim childhood and change the world for children. See y'all.